Hi, Virgo. Welcome to your June 2023 reading. Um, excuse me. We're going to have a cat flying around. He's like attacking things this morning and actually the last couple of mornings. So if you see him like jumping through the camera or um, the film, that's the frame, that's what it is. It's very interesting. I've been very entertained so far. Um, Okay, so we're not going to do the astrology for this month. I've got a lot going on, but I did want to let you guys know that I am offering 20% off all of my astrology and tarot readings minus the 6 month reading. I do still have like 6 spots, I think, for the 6 month reading for June. So if you haven't been able to get your July through December reading yet, this is the last month I'll be offering that for the 2023 year. And there's 20% off using the code SPRING23, SPRING 20. If I could spell today. I hope you guys had a good Memorial weekend and you were able to relax. The energy's been really, really funky. I will tell you that we have this Jupiter conjunct North Node um, that's happening on Thursday. So a lot of opportunities are opening up for us. I'm recognizing that doors are opening. I'm recognizing that the more I take care of myself and other people, doors are opening. Like instead of trying to force things, instead of trying to grind too hard, instead of just um, over extending myself, if you will, instead of doing all of that, I've recognized all these doors are starting to open the more I kind of take a step back. So, and that's hard, man. That's hard, especially for Virgos to do because we always want to be doing something. We always feel like we need to be like in the game and like pushing and pushing and pushing. Um, but yeah, this is it's a really interesting turn. I guess it feels like things are turning a little bit. So let's get your surrender card. As always, we'll be getting a power of surrender card to see what it is that you'll be surrendering for June. Okay, we've got two of them. Oh, wow. So I know this reading is going to be for me too. Sometimes it's not. So, but I can tell already by the surrender card. So, surrender to complete healing. Open fully to the loving, compassionate forces of the universe that support your physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. So, surrender to complete healing. And then surrender fear. Yes, Virgo, surrender fear. Let's let go of the fearful stories you're telling yourself. Stay in the moment, focus on solutions, and celebrate every baby step forward. That's one of like that's huge because I forget to do that so often to celebrate like even the small moments, the small things that happen. Like you guys yesterday, and this may not seem like a big deal to a lot of people, but I got a new pair of shoes yesterday. It was Memorial Day. Famous Footwear was having this incredible sale. And then we had like extra money off, and we were like, let's do it. And Saturn is in Pisces. So taking care of your feet is a very big theme, especially for Virgos, because that's just opposite us. So all of our planets are being opposed right now by Saturn. And one of the things is in a very physical way, we must take care of ourselves in a very physical way. And a lot of that goes with mental, because if your physical's not doing well, your mental's not going to be doing well either. And I think that we talk about that because we're part of that 12th house, 6th house axis, where the 12th house is Pisces and the 6th house is Virgo. The 12th house is the spiritual and the unknown and the mental, and the 6th house is Virgo. It's the physical, it's the body, it's the everyday, it's how it's the rituals we do, it's the bad habits that we have, it's the good habits that we have, those kinds of things, the way that we really take care of ourselves. So surrender to complete healing. And so it was a tiny thing that I did yesterday, getting new shoes, but it was huge for me because my feet have not been good. And you don't realize how much you need an appendage until you can't use it anymore. Like, you don't realize that these people who are not able bodied, who cannot use their hands or cannot use their legs or feet, you don't realize how much more difficult life can be for them. For months, my feet have been hurting me. And so, getting a new pair of shoes, seeing the podiatrist, knowing that there's a fix for it, and then I hopefully won't have to undergo any kind of surgery or anything, but just little things like that. Like, do little things like that that can make your world change, like, can totally shift your perspective on life and can totally shift your perspective on everything that's happening around you. Even little tiny things like that can really make a big difference. So, all right, Virgo, cards. Surrender fear, surrender to complete healing. I'm really excited. We're going to be starting this subscription service coming up soon. And it's not just going to be me teaching. We're going to have several teachers, amazing teachers to help guide you on your own journey. So we want to do this. Okay. So something is coming into your world. Virgo. Something is coming into your world. And it's interesting because it's actually coming in really lightly. So we have the Knight of Cups was the very first card that came out. And then we have the Knight of Swords right next to the Knight of Cups. And then we have the Five of Swords. On the bottom row here, we have the World. And we have the Queen of Cups. Virgo, I feel like you're the Queen of Cups. I'm just going to say it. I feel like you are kind of on this. See? Isn't he over here? Right there. Sorry, my camera's backwards, so I got to figure out how to do it. Right here. The magical poof. I feel like you're the Queen of Cups because I feel like you're on this kind of like emotional ledge, if you will. And it doesn't have to be like in a negative way. Like, I feel like you're very intuitive. I feel like you're very feeling into things. And a lot of times that can make you extra emotional because when Virgo decides to surrender, it's like we already have that magic of taking care of the physical and taking care of the body and being disciplined and hopefully being disciplined. Not all of us are, but tapping into the things that we can't see, the unknown, our intuitive state can really create sort of like this whole energy of healing, completeness, right? Of healing and completeness. So feels like something that's coming in, but there's this desire for it to happen faster. And I think that if it's not happening faster, you're kind of second guessing the whole process. That Five of Swords is very much like turning your brain on itself. Like it's second guessing itself all the time, right? So the Knight of, like, we don't want to rush into anything. This thing is coming in very slowly. It's coming in the time frame that it needs to. And there's a cycle that's ending and then a new one that's beginning. And I feel like you intuitively already know this, but you're like the pressure, the time, like time has been a big theme lately because things have just been drawn out and like drug out. It feels like we're sort of being drugged through quicksand or the mud these days. So let's clarify. Knight of Cups. Ooh. And I really feel like you're not even supposed to know the answer until, like, this is going to sound really stupid, Virgo, and I'm sorry that I'm even going to say it, but you're not supposed to know the answer until you know the answer, until you actually get the answer. And that sounds really dumb because, I mean, isn't that the way it always is? But sometimes we just know ahead of time. Like, we sort of get this, We get this intuitive feeling, right? And we sort of know ahead of time how something is going to pan out. But right now, I just feel like the answer, like I feel like there's going to be a little bit more confusion until until you finally see, like, oh wow, there's, I have everything in front of me, all the answers that I need, but it's not going to come in the time that you want it to come. It's going to come in the time it's supposed to come. So on the Knight of Cups, we have the Seven of Cups and the Hierophant clarifying. So the Seven of Cups represents that emotional confusion. Like we have all of these there's like these opportunities here, and they're like, they can emotionally fulfill us, but which one do we choose? And then we have the Hierophant here. The Hierophant often represents being stable. It represents evolution. It represents growth. It represents marriage, leveling up in your spirituality. Often relationships can do that for us, level us up in our spirituality. For some of you, you're really confused about a Taurus. And I don't mean to laugh at that. Like, I'm so sorry. Sometimes I laugh at the wrong times because I feel really uncomfortable about things. But for some of you, you're really confused about a Taurus, and you're like, do I approach this Taurus? Do I not approach this Taurus? And you're not really sure how to do that. Some of you had a fight, possibly with a Taurus, could have been with a water sign, but I feel like you guys are really emotional through this. And if it's not a Taurus, then it could be, you could be emotional because of school. Like some of you are graduating, some of you are just finishing off finals. But there's this like really a big desire. That Nine of Pentacles is Venus and Virgo. That represents Venus and Virgo. And there's like this desire to be independent in some way, or like forge ahead and because the Nine of Pentacles is about being independent and abundant all on your own without having to have like other people's resources. Sometimes this can often mean being single too. So for some of you, if you're confused about a Taurus, or you're confused about a relationship or a marriage or something like that, you may be getting this fear that you're going to be single, and it's almost like immediately we start to project into the future, like, oh my gosh, now I'm going to have to like totally rebuild my future and all of that. For some of you, that's completely possible. You might actually have to be rebuilding your life without the relationship that you were currently in. I don't think that the breakup's happening in June. I feel like the breakup's already happened. If there's been a breakup, that's already happened. If you guys are already single, that's already happened. For some of you, you're wondering when the relationship is going to show up in your life. And I think that there's this like underlying frustration. We get to a certain age and we start to wonder if we're going to be like damaged goods and nobody's going to want us because we're such and such age or whatever. And literally, you guys, society taught us that. Like, that's not even a full truth, right? So the Two of Wands on the Five of Swords, like there needs to be a clear head. There are decisions that you need to make. And these decisions are going to affect your future. The Two of Wands, we have this world in this guy's hand. He's literally looking out into the future. And so that Two of Wands can really, really, really affect your future. And we just, that's one of the things. It's like, what direction do I want to go in? Do I want to evolve this way? Do I want to allow myself to grow? Because the Hierophant doesn't just represent relationships. Yes, we can evolve in relationships. The Hierophant represents the things that we can evolve in, our belief systems, our philosophies in life, the way that we expand, right? The way that we expand ourselves, whether through spirituality, whether through relationships with other people. Wow, dude, he's like so psycho right now. Anyway, so I think that you're sort of like on this precipice. You have things that you really want to jump into, and the fear of jumping is really, really loud. Is really, really loud. So focusing on yourself and focusing on whatever needs to be completed. There's a cycle that's ending. We have the world here. So when we're focusing on that cycle ending, nice. When we're focusing on that cycle ending, instead of focusing on what's going to happen after the cycle ends, because if the cycle hasn't ended yet, then what's the point of focusing on anything else? Like honestly, ask yourself that. Like, what's the point of me focusing on anything else if this one cycle hasn't ended? We have the Page of Swords, Six of Cups on the world. So, being really honest with yourself about your past. Virgo, I got to tell you a story. You guys don't mind, right? I got to tell you a story. So, I don't know why, other than being able to look at my astrology, I don't know why it is that I've had to struggle with homelessness so much in my life. Like, literally, for, I'd say about 23 years now, I've been homeless like half that time, honestly. If I add up all the years and all the time that I have been, I've probably been homeless half the time in the last 20 years. And as a single mother at the same time. And a lot of that has to do with the choices that I made, because I didn't want to stay in a marriage where I was unhappy. I didn't want to stay under a roof where like there was a thumb doing that to me, right? So there were a lot of choices that I made for myself that put me in those positions. This last time, I didn't make any choices for this to happen. It just kind of blindsided us, right? And so now we're in a position where, you know, we're getting a new place and we have to get all new furniture and stuff like that, which is fine. But it's the symbolism of it all, right? Like, I have been telling myself the story of the past is going to end. And I feel like that's what these three cards are really helping to define for us. The Page of Swords is the honesty. The Six of Cups is the past, and the world is that cycle ending. So what is the story? What do you got to be honest with yourself about? What do you have to do? I know how my story needs to change. I know what I need to do now to take accountability and to, you know, be disciplined enough for this next part of this, you know, this next chapter and what I want to see. Because eventually, you know, we've decided what we want our future to look like. We don't want to live on anybody else's properties anymore. And this is that, like, we're really hoping that this is that last year that we're going to have to do that. Regardless, just by rewriting your story. Just by rewriting your story, and just by saying, I no longer want to be this person. I no longer want to have these bad habits. I no longer, and I mean, like, I'm saying this to you guys because this is very sixth house energy. Allowing ourselves to change our day-to-day life, our day-to-day story, and make it our story, not what the rest of the world wants it to be, what we want to see, how we want it to look. And that's not easy. And we come up against, you know, that fighting back, that blockage sometimes when we're, you know, rebuilding or rewriting our story, but that's what's going to be complete. So the bottom of the deck is the Nine of Cups, and underneath that is the Page of Cups. Oh, wow. And the Wheel of Fortune. I just wanted to show that to you guys first before I showed this to you. Remember, we talked about this Queen of Cups being your energy this month. And then we have the Lovers. Now, the Lovers, yes, again, this could be about a relationship. For some of you, this is about a relationship. But for most of you, this is about becoming whole and complete. And being wholly complete yourself means the discipline, showing up for yourself, you know, manifesting. I'm putting this out there, you know, manifesting is actually taking accountability and responsibility for your life. because you can create your life in any way that you want to create it, as long as you become responsible for it, as long as you take accountability for it. That doesn't mean that the world isn't going to try and push back, but as long as you take that strong stance, you're able to manifest things. And that's what this is, right? So, rewriting your story for greatness, rewriting your story for abundance, the Wheel of Fortune, like you want things to change, Virgo, ask for it. Ask yourself for it. That's the thing, is like there was one point in my life where I literally had to stop taking bullshit for myself. Like, let's be honest with each other. How much bullshit are you feeding yourself so that you don't have to take accountability and let's be honest with each other, because we all do it. So, rewriting our stories for June. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful June. And I did want to tell you guys that I will be taking off the face-to-face readings for July and August. I just need to have a break. So I'll only be doing I can do all of the readings recorded that are on my website, but I'm going to change that around a little bit. So if you want to see me face-to-face, June will be the month to do it, because I'll be taking those face-to-face readings off just for a little while, just to give myself a little bit of a break. But really enjoying doing all of these personal readings still. I love you guys. Take care. Bye.